turn my phone off. Welcome everyone this evening to our regular meeting of council for April 29, 2024. Bonjour tout le monde. Pour être venu ce soir pour notre séance ordinaire du Conseil le 29 avril 2024. Roll call. All members of current council are present and accounted for. Please join me in standing for the Territorial Land Acknowledgement Statement and a moment of reflection, followed by the National Anthem.
Alors, nous reconnaissons que nous sommes sur le territoire non cédé des Anishinaabe et les terres traditionnelles des peuples Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, Kanien'kehá:ka. Nous reconnaissons notre obligation commune de respecter, d'honorer et de préserver ces terres et les ressources naturelles qu'elles contiennent.
Merci. Whereas Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law, let us take a moment of personal reflection. All right, move on to item number 4, additions, deletions, or amendments. I believe Councillor Lalonde had an amendment to add at 18A. Would you like to?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm just going to request some clarification on the official plan review material that was posted on the website.
Okay, so we'll mark that as 18A. Any other additions, deletions? I believe that Mr. Godin, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, just a request to remove items 11A and 11B, which are the retail market demand study and the hotel market demand study. We had some discussions with the consultant today, and he's offered to come make a presentation to council. So given the size and all the information included in those reports, we thought that'd be a good idea. So we would defer them to either next meeting or the one after.
Okay. So delete 11A and 11B, and we're adding 18A. Okay, anything else? No, we're good? So I guess we'll get a move, adoption of the agenda. So a motion to approve the agenda as, we'll put as presented, and then we'll have the amendment. So this is moved by Councillor Terranoski, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. And we'll amend it to delete 11A and 11B and add 18A. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for that. So moved by Councillor Deakin, seconded by Councillor Terranoski. All those in favor of the amendment? Motion is carried. All those in favor of the original amendment the original motion as amended? Motion is carried. Déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire. On voit pas. Adoption of the minutes, the regular council minutes, April 8th, 2024, and the special council minutes, April 15th, 2024. Motion to approve the following minutes as presented. This is moved by Councillor Deakin, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Présentation, il n'y en a pas. Délégation, il n'y en a pas. Consent items. All items listed under the consent items will be enacted by one motion. A majority vote is required for the adoption of the consent items. So motion to approve all items listed under consent as presented. This is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Terranoski. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Rapport de département. Actually, I believe there's one that we're starting off with, if I remember correctly. And that would be the public consultations at number 19. Will be discussed now at number 11. This is the East Branch Wood Edie Engineering Report, Report ISPW 2024-08. Monsieur Godin, I'll give you the floor.
Oui, merci. Merci, Mr. Chair. I'll give the floor to Monsieur Bourgon.
Good evening, council members. So the presentation tonight, it's to reflect the Drainage Act. So the public's, so we'll have our consultant, Lauren Franklin, who will do a quick presentation about the engineer report. Then council will have the opportunity to ask question or comment, and same afterwards with from the owners along that municipal drain. They'll have the opportunity to ask question or comments regarding the relocation of the drain. So that's again under the Drainage Act that we are following that process. So I'll ask Lauren to start.
Okay, so just one clarification from the clerk then on this, because it's a public meeting, then do we have to suspend the rules of procedure to add a public question period, or is it automatic that there's a question period after this type of a presentation?
Yes, like Mr. Bourgon mentioned, it's automatic, so we're having a question period.
Okay.
And also comments from the people that are affected.
Yes. Questions, comments, concerns from members of the public who are affected, that live in a certain region?
Exactly. So an owner that has an assessment along the drain.
Okay.
So we did send notice to those specific individual almost a month ago.
Okay.
So only those ones can ask questions.
You have the list of the
Yeah.
names of the people, so,
And-
okay.
And we can also we'll ask those owners to sign up our
Yeah.
attendance sheet.
So just so we're clear, and I apologize, just be one moment. So after the presentation, there will be the ability for public questions, comments, and concerns for those residents who are affected. You'll be able to step up to the podium, ask your question or state your comment or your concern directly to council. If it's a question, we'll look to get you an answer from staff or from our consultants. And we ask that you please sign the sign-up sheet there with your name and your address. When you do step up, please state your name for that. And that will be just strictly on this topic. It will not be any other topic. Alors, s'il y a des questions, des commentaires ou des craintes après la présentation, s'il vous plaît, vous mettez au podium. Dites votre question ou votre commentaire là-dessus. Et à ce point-là, on va voir si c'est une question, on va essayer de trouver une réponse. Sinon, si c'est un commentaire, ça va être mis en record. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Lauren.
So thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. My name is Lauren Franklin. I'm a licensed engineering technologist with Robinson Consultants. Couple items to start off with. I am hard of hearing. My hearing aids died at the most inopportune time on the way here, so I do apologize in advance if I ask you to repeat your question. Please don't take offense to that. And also, I speak English only for the purpose of engineering, so any French questions will have to be asked through staff first. So I apologize in advance for that as well. Next page, please. So this is a location plan. This is in the industrial park area of the township, the industrial park towards the northeast side. The red drainage area boundary is the boundary of the drain. The blue line on that plan is the existing alignment of the drain, and the green line is a realignment of the most upper portion of the drain. The yellow is where it exists now, that is ultimately to be abandoned. Next page. So a little bit of history. The Wood-Edie Municipal Drain was originally constructed in 1955 under a report by L.P. Stidwell. The east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain was last improved in 1977 under a report by McNeely Engineering. The 1977 report and bylaw currently governs all activities on the east branch of the drain. The main drain and the west branch are continue to be governed by the 1955 report. The next page. Robinson Consultants was appointed by the Township of Russell in March 2020 to complete a new engineer's report for the east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain. Next page. On-site meeting was of the affected landowners and concerned parties was held on April 7th, 2021. On the next page. Modifications to the existing east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain are proposed to include improved drainage capacity for lands and roads and the fair and equitable distribution of the cost for future maintenance. The construction cost is assessed to the Township of Russell as a special benefit for the purpose of this work. The next page, so required works. The following works will be implemented for the construction of the east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain. They include replacement, addition of specific culverts due to capacity issues, the reestablishment of a smooth and positive slope profile along the entire length of the drain, the periodic rock check dam and sediment basins to reduce sediment transport and improve downstream water quality, seeding of the disturbed areas and buffer zones to reduce erosion, and relocation of the upstream portion of the drain to allow for development. So the next page with the plan. So again, the green area at the left of the page is the relocation. The yellow area is where the drain exists now. And the blue line to the right and extending to the top of the page is the municipal drain as it exists now. It is primarily being maintained, but there are a few culverts to be replaced there. And also the addition of the check dams. The red triangles there are known tile outlets, so they will receive protection and reestablishment in the drain. The next page. Drainage Act requires that the total of the estimated cost be assessed against the affected lands and roads under the categories of benefit, outlet liability, injuring liability, special benefit, and special assessment of the public utility or road authority. On this project, there is no assessment for injuring liability, and in this case, all costs for the engineering, construction, and maintenance, current proposed maintenance activities are assessed to the Township of Russell, meaning there will be no cost to the landowners within the drainage area at this time. However, they do remain assessed for future maintenance. The next page, oh, there we go. Future maintenance costs for Section 1 of the drain are assessed to upstream landowners as per the principles defined in the following slides. Future maintenance for Section 2 of the municipal drain, that is the enclosure, will continue to be fully assessed to the Township of Russell. Section 1 and 2 are defined in the slides following this one. Next page. Benefit by definition under the Drainage Act is the advantages to any lands, roads, building, or other structures from the construction, improvement, repair, or maintenance of a drainage works, as such will result in higher market value or increased crop production, improved appearance, or better control of surface or subsurface water, or any other advantages relating to the betterment of lands and roads, or buildings, or other structures. So that you will see this in the schedules for future maintenance for the lands that are directly adjacent to the drain. And the next page. Outlet are lands and roads that may be accessible for outlet liability are those lands that use the drainage works as an outlet for which, after construction or improvement of the drainage works, an improved outlet is provided. The outlet or improved outlet may be provided either directly or indirectly through any drainage works, overland flow, swale, ravine, creek, or watercourse. Assessment for outlet is based on the location, area, and rate of flow. Each parcel of land that lies within the drainage area basin and is upstream of the portion of the location where the construction or maintenance is being undertaken pays a portion of the cost for the construction or maintenance through an outlet assessment. However, as I did note, the current construction is being assessed directly to the Township of Russell, so outlet assessments are then affected for the future maintenance. The next slide. Special benefit is any addition, work, or feature included in the construction, repair, improvement, or drainage works beyond the mandated design standard. Special benefit is governed by Section 24 and Section 26 of the Drainage Act. This allows for assessment against any lands for which a special benefit has been provided based on the actual cost of the special benefit or the increased cost of the drainage works due to the special benefit. Special assessment is charged where special engineering, design, and construction is required to ensure adequate outlet downstream of the property. As for a cost estimate, the total cost to complete all works associated with the east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain, including engineering, administration, construction, contingency, mitigation, allowances, and permit fees, is estimated to be $850,938. The next slide. So for a breakdown of that cost, the construction itself is estimated in the $577,000 range. That's primarily based on the storm sewer is the most expensive part. There is a contingency in the amount of $88,000. The engineering and administration is estimated at $166,000, and allowances for a very small sliver of lost land or lost crops due to the construction is estimated at $19,800, resulting in the total $850,938. And that amount for the current construction and maintenance of the drain, except for future maintenance, is fully assessed as a special benefit to the township at this time. The factors affecting assessment are land use, distance factor, maintenance sections and subsection factors, and the Agricultural Drainage Infrastructure Program, or ADIP, eligibility, which provides a 1/3 grant to farm eligible properties. The land use factor is included in the assessment calculation to account for the volume of runoff for the lands used for different purposes. A numeric value of 1 is given to all agricultural, rural use, large lot residential, vacant lands, unprotected forest, not subject to any registered management agreement, or any land where an alternative factor is not otherwise specified. A value of 2 is given to small lots of 5 acres or less, 2 hectares. A value of 4 is given to land classified as higher density residential, institutional, or commercial, or road right-of-way. The next slide. A distance factor was developed to account for the proximity of land to the drain and the relative amount of water that will enter the drain. A band is drawn on each side of the drain at approximately 200 meters, a second band at 600 meters, and a third at approximately 1,000 meters from the drain. A property that is entirely within the first band is given a distance factor of 1. That's to account for most of their water reaching the drain. A property that falls entirely within the second band is given a distance factor of 0.75, meaning ultimately that less water will reach the drain and ultimately use the drain. And a property that falls entirely within the third band is given a distance factor of 0.5, and land located beyond the 1,000 meters from the drain outside the third band is given a distance factor of 0.3. If we flip to the next slide, so the distance factor lines are shown here at 200, 600, and 1,000 meters, and as well as some areas outside of the 1,000 meters, but still within the drainage area boundary. And each of those corresponding factors applies to the calculations that go for future maintenance. And again, at the top is section 2, so those are drawn from only that section, which is the realignment. The next slide. In order to develop schedules for the future maintenance charges, the east branch of the Wood-Edie Municipal Drain has been divided into 2 sections. Each section is further divided into 3 parts. The upstream section is assigned a factor of 1, meaning it uses the entire drain. The middle part, a factor of 0.66, meaning they can only use the 2/3 of the drain. And the downstream part is assigned a factor of 0.33, meaning those properties can ultimately only use the bottom third of the drain. Each individual property is assigned a subsection factor corresponding to the location where the drainage from the property enters the drain. All properties upstream of a section where maintenance is being undertaken are assigned a factor of 1. So if we flip to the next slide. So in this case, the entire drain exists except for the relocation is assigned as section 1, and section 2, which is the relocation, is assigned only for the relocated part. The next slide. Grant eligibility. Some farm eligible properties will be eligible for a grant should that program exist at the time when future maintenance is completed. The Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs outlines the policies and procedures with regard to the 33% grant available to those properties. In general, currently, to be eligible for a grant, the property must be eligible for the farm tax class. And the next slide. To be eligible for the farm tax class, a property must then be assessed as farmland by MPAC, used as part of an ongoing farming operation generating at least $7,000 in annual revenue, hold a valid farm business registration number and be registered with Agricorp, and have more than 50% Canadian ownership. and grant eligibility is determined at the time when future maintenance has actually been completed. So if you, say, go to do future maintenance beyond this in 15 years, it's up to OMAFRA whether that grant program still exists, and if it still exists in its same function as it does now, any property that's eligible at that time is eligible for grant. So while we've identified them as currently eligible for grant, it does not necessarily mean that they are limited to that or that the grant will necessarily be available at that time. Allowances are paid to affected lands based on land loss due to ditch widening and relocation, a crop loss on agricultural lands where excavated material is spread at 100% for the first year, 60% for the second year, and 40% for the third year. So that's on the basis that where we spread material, the crops are lost to the full extent the first year. However, that land doesn't fully recover over the next 2 years until it's tilled in and worked and all those sorts of things until the land is fully recovered. So there's an allowance for each year of that crop loss. The next slide. So following this meeting, assuming that first and second reading are given, there is a quarter revision. A quarter revision hearing will be scheduled for following the meeting to consider. A landowner assessed for the drainage works may appeal to the quarter revision on any of the following grounds. Any land or road assessment is too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed has not been assessed, or that due consideration has not been given to the appropriate land use. Where any landowner is making an appeal to the quarter revision, written notification and supporting documentation must be received by the municipality at least 10 days prior to the quarter revision. The next slide. Future maintenance and repair of the east branch of the Wood Eadie municipal drain shall be the responsibility of the Township of Russell. Individual landowners are responsible for periodic inspection of the drain and reporting maintenance problems to the Township. The cost of future maintenance is to be assessed in the same proportion as the schedule's assessment for future maintenance. The cost of future maintenance for Section 2, the enclosed portion, will remain fully assessed to the Township of Russell. Therefore, the maintenance costs are to be levied against the upstream lands from the location of the maintenance work, pro rata with the assessments for benefit outlet in the report, all of which is in accordance with the Drainage Act. That is the end of my presentation for tonight, so I am open to questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you very much. I will ask members of council first, and then we will allow for questions from members of the public. Any questions? Hearing and seeing none, thank you very much for the presentation. If there's any questions, comments, and concerns from affected landowners, please step up to the podium. S'il y avait des questions des personnes affectées, s'il vous plaît, avancez au podium.
Good day, Tony Bass.
Okay, Mr. Bass, 1 second. I'm just conferring with Mr. Bourgon. Is Mr. Bass one of the affected landowners?
I don't have his name on the list of owner, but I do have several corporate numbers.
Are you one of the affected landowners, Mr.
Well,
Bass?
I did get a letter in the mail, and I'm wondering why I got those letters in the mail. I know I rent land that way, and is that could that be one of the reasons?
Mr. Bourgon?
That's possible. Or there's been a change of ownership, that's possible as well.
Okay.
Okay,
can
so
I go
then
ahead?
so then I'm going to go ahead and allow a question for Mr. Bass, or a comment, or a concern.
Okay, I guess it's a couple of comments. You keep talking about that it's, you're going to be charging the township for now. I'm just kind of wondering, are those expenses going to be given to the farmers after? Because why would we need those grants if it's not going to affect the farmers' costs?
Mr. Bourgon, if you understand the question.
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question 100%, but I can confirm that the storm sewer installation or the infrastructure that to relocate the drain will be maintained 100% by the municipality in the future.
Okay, but the actual drainage work itself, that's going to be charged to the landowners, right?
It will
Mr.
in the
Bourgon?
sorry, Chair. It will in the future. This time around, it will be part of the project. The municipality will maintain the drain this time, but in the future, it will be like it's always been. So
Okay.
it will be assessed to the benefit
Another
owners.
question, Mr. Bass?
Yeah, I just want to relate on that one a little bit more. So why do we need to apply for grants if it's going to be all township that's going to cover the cost of this drainage ditch?
Mr. Bourgon?
I believe, and my consultant can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was giving the context that there's eligible grants. So when we do clean municipal drain, all the assessed owner are eligible for the grants from OMAFRA,
Okay.
And that was for future,
future
Yes.
maintenance.
Okay,
future
okay,
maintenance.
That's good. Oh, and the crop losses on, that's 100%, 60%, and 40%. Is that automatically given? And who assesses the number of acreage that has been lost due to the drainage
Okay,
ditch?
very good question. Mr. Bourgon?
I would ask our consultant to confirm or to answer that question.
Okay.
Crop loss is calculated by the amount of material to be moved from the drain and spread on the adjacent lands. It is calculated at a depth of 6 inches deep on land, so we have a volume of soil that's being removed, and it's actually very little on this drain. It's then calculated how far it will take to spread that material out on the adjacent land, and you're given a crop loss allowance for that piece of land.
So it's.
No, okay. Ask your question this way, please.
Sorry. So if we still are able to put crops on that property because it's a good dry year and the land has dried up enough, are we still going to get our 100% loss from that crop?
Mr. Bourgon, our consultant?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Okay, so so you're telling us that we're only going to be getting 6 inches of soil over the property, no more than that?
Mr. Bourgon?
Correct, yes. That is the maximum depth at which it is spread is 6 inches on farm property.
Okay, thank you.
300 millimeters, so a foot deep on any forested property, but 150 mils, which is 6 inches on any farm property.
Okay, and
Thank you very much.
how are you going to calculate the losses of the crops?
I think that's already been asked and answered.
No, well, I mean, every crop that you grow is differently, and so every crop that, if you put a crop on, one will get you $300 profit a year, another one will get you $200 profit a year. So I'm
Okay.
just wondering how they're going to calculate those.
Okay. Mr. Bourgon, Lauren?
There is a calculation provided in the engineer's report. It is based on the current value for corn and for soybeans, averaged between the two of them, and averaged at the OMAFRA reported yield for this area.
Okay,
So that's how it's calculated.
Thank you very much for the response.
all right, and you're going to let the farmers know how many acres you've spread on their property, right?
Mr. Bourgon?
Yes, there is an assessment schedule, a schedule of allowances provided in the report that provides the width, the anticipated width of the spreading.
Okay.
That's already in there, and you will get that amount. We don't expect to go over it. We may actually go under it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions, comments, and the responses.
Doug Esterbrook's.
Okay, Mr. Easterbrook, give me 1 second, just confirming with Mr. Bourgon.
Yes, I got a
Oh.
letter.
Okay. Mr. Bourgon, we're good? Okay.
$580 Route 100. Is that okay?
Yep.
I got a letter. It's okay. My question really was going to be. Uh, no. My question was going to be, is any
But
consider?
unfortunately, we have to stick to people who are affected.
Okay.
And we do not have you on the list, unfortunately. At the end of the meeting, there is a public question period. If you want to ask a question at that point in time, feel free, as long as it's a question.
Question.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns from affected landowners? Okay, seeing and hearing none. We will, Madame Camide, do we move right to the resolutions on these ones? Yes? Okay. So we'll move to resolution number 1 for council. That council receive report ISPW 2024-08 dated April 29, 2024. This is moved by Councillor Deakin, seconded by Councillor Taranowski. Questions or comments? All those in favor? That motion is carried. We'll move to resolution number 2. That council approve the proposed bylaw 2024-031 to provide amendment to the East Branch Wood Edie Municipal Drain for a first and second reading. This is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Taranowski. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. And we'll move to the third resolution, which is that council adopt the proposed resolution to appoint members for the Court of Revision. This is moved by Councillor Taranowski, seconded by Councillor Deakin. I do have one quick question, and I just want to make sure from when I'm reading this report. It lists 2 councillors from our municipality and 1 from Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken, Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Bourgon.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, that's correct. Some of the benefit owners are owner from the City of Ottawa. So that's a normal practice when it comes to those Court of Revision to have a member from the neighboring municipality
Okay.
to represent the affected owners.
So my next question is, has Mr. Brown been asked and accepted this before we put it into a resolution?
Yes, he was with the par l'entremise, the drainage superintendent on the Ottawa
Okay.
side.
So then I will ask the 2 members of council that were identified here, have you been asked and agreed to this?
Yes, we have.
Okay, perfect. So with that on the table, any questions or comments? I'll go call for the vote. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Godin, Monsieur Bourgon, and members of the public for their questions. So we will now move to item 11C. If you are here strictly for that presentation, please feel free to get up and walk out. That's not a problem. We'll wait a couple of seconds before we move forward. We won't be offended, but you can stay if you want. All right. So we'll move to item 11C, road construction and drain relocation report. Is that the right one? Okay. Road construction and drain relocation report, ISPW 2024-09. The council received report ISPW 2024-09 dated April 24th and approved the proposed bylaw to award a contract and to authorize the entry into an agreement with Cornwall Gravel Company Limited for a road construction and municipal drain relocation for a total of $1.653 million, which includes the $1.76 of non-refundable HST. and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign this agreement. Are there any questions from members of council on this item? Councillor Terranoski.
Merci beaucoup. Question is relating to the financial plan. There is in the numbers, they speak to sale of land and revenues. So I just want to understand to make sure that the 2024 projects realized in terms of revenues, are those revenues kind of guaranteed?
I'll just hold off a second here. No, please leave the doors open. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Terranoski, continue, please.
Oui, c'est ça. Alors, sur le plan financier, ça montre des retournes, des revenus. Je vais juste confirmer que les revenus pour 2024 sont effectivement bien qu'on les a déjà ou bien qu'on a une certitude de les recevoir.
OK. M. Godin, M. Dagenet.
Ben, présentement, il n'y a rien de garanti, mais on a une certitude, oui.
OK. Certitude. Ça veut
Ben,
juste
on
dire...
travaille sur... on a présentement une liste de gens qui sont intéressés.
OK.
Puis, on a déjà, je pense, autour de 30 talks qui ont été présentés. Puis là, on travaille sur le restant.
OK. Merci.
Other questions from members of council? Councillor Deacon.
Good evening. I had a couple of questions from the financial plan as well. It's listed EMARD extension and EMARD extension robot to Edie, and I just wanted to know what the difference was in those two lines.
Okay. Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon.
I'll take that one. Thank you, Chair. So it's a mistake on our end. So we're the first ML extension, the 400 meters. So that's what the contract's about tonight. And the rest, the remaining distance, it will be for depending of the type of layout. And that was an estimate based on the length going to ED.
Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and I
Another
have
one?
another question on
Absolutely.
the financial plan as well. So it's also listed berm and trees. So just wondering what location that's referring to in the financial plan. Is that perhaps going along Emma or a different area?
Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon.
So in the appendix where we see the map, that's the green zone that we see along ED Road. And that's exactly how we did present to council back in November, I believe. So it's really that zone closer to ED Road.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions from members of council? Councillor Deacon.
Sorry, I did have one more come up. Just a slight difference from what the consultant presented, and I saw the figure 916,000, and then in this financial plan here, looking at 850 for the drain work. So just wondering what the difference is between those two numbers.
Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon.
So the presentation that we just received are based on estimate of exercise engineering work done several months ago. And the number that we see here, it's the tender price.
The actual tender price.
The actual tender price. So it's, here we're doing the both exercise parallel to one another. So that's how like council kind of can see the variance that way. But typically in an engineer report for a drain, it's estimate, and those estimates, some of our reports are dated like in the 60s, and we're still using those estimates.
And it was what, 853, I think it was, or 856 in the presentation. It came in
Exactly.
at 901.
Yeah, exactly.
So not too far removed from that amount. Other questions, comments? Seeing and hearing none. Anything else, Mr. Godin, from administration on this?
No, merci.
OK, merci. Item 11D, permis pour une occasion spéciale pour un événement public avec boissons alcoolisées, rapport CSASCL 2024-03. Que le Conseil reçoit le rapport CSASCL 2024-03 daté du 29 avril 2024 et appuie la demande de la brasserie Tuc de Brewery Inc. pour un permis pour une occasion spéciale pour un événement public avec boissons alcoolisées lors du 5e anniversaire de la cuisine Cayenne qui se tiendra le 24 mai 2024 sur leur site au 189 rue Bay à Embrun de 15h à 21h et désigner l'événement comme étant d'importance municipale. Anything for the administration on this? Any comments? No, standard request for a special license sign off. Any questions or comments from members of the committee or council? Used to doing that from planning. Nothing? Okay. We'll move forward. Recommendation, item 11E, recommendation 2024-01 of the Environmental and Sustainability Advisory Committee, environmentally friendly seeds for green space on township property. And that council received recommendation 2024-01 dated April 10, 2024 from the Environmental and Sustainability Advisory Committee with respect to the environmentally friendly seeds for green space on township property. I'm going to ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Terranowski, to say a few words on this item.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, if I go back to our strategic plan and the environmental impact and our strategic goals around environmental awareness and working towards a lower carbon footprint, the committee is recommending that we look at replacing manicured green lawns in our parks, for more natural kind of greenery, which as we know, green grass does create a significant carbon use. And so the committee is recommending to Township to take a look at that. So that's where the recommendation comes from.
Okay. And with respect, I believe we're just receiving that report. Is there any action the Environment Committee is asking for from us?
Thank you. So the idea here is that the committee is recommending that we look at replacing our existing kind of practice within lawns and parks. And so, as you mentioned, this is being received here by council, and it would be good to have possibly direction to township staff to look at how we can implement that, what are some of the options, the benefits, and really kind of take a look at that recommendation and see how we can operationalize that and see realistically how that could happen. I think, again, going back to our strategic plan, being a bold leader and the environmental piece, I think it behooves us to look at that. So that would be the direction. Thank you.
Okay. So for Mr. Godin, just a direction on coming back to council with a report on how we can implement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, a simple direction would be sufficient to provide us the action required to bring back a report to council.
Okay. So because this is in the items, so I'm just wondering, do we remove that item, deal with it separately, and then give the direction at that time? I'm seeing some head nods. So why don't we do that, Madame Committee? Could we remove 11E, please? And we'll deal with that item separately. All right, so we will move to the next item. Oh, sorry, were there any questions or comments on that item from members of council? Councilor Deakin.
I just wanted to add, too, that my understanding is that a different approach from lawn and turf grass would be, I know this time of year people are starting to think about the beetles showing up in their yards, and they're quite bad in the villages, and my understanding is that this would also be a potential way to mitigate that would be that the beetles are eating the turf.
Okay.
Anyways, it was interesting. We were talking about it at the community cleanup.
All right, excellent, thank you. We'll move to item number 12, reports from an investigator or the ombudsman. There are none. Avis de motion, il y en a pas. Question period on meeting of the day. If you have a question, si vous avez une question sur l'agenda du jour, please come up to the podium. I would like you to please sign your name and address on the form that's there, then state your name. Please address all questions to the chair, and I will attempt to get an answer for you, either from myself or from staff. And from there, again, just ensuring that you're addressing it to me and that they are questions only on items of the day. And if you can please state which item number you are asking a question on, would be appreciated. Monsieur Godin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to confirm that Mr. Bourgon found Mr. Estabrook's name on the list.
Okay.
So it would be appropriate for Mr. Estabrook, if he does have a comment, to make it that we can.
Absolutely.
keep it on
Do you
file.
have your question now or your comment? You're welcome to step up beforehand.
And if I can add, Mr. Chair, one, I apologize, and two, if I don't have the answer tonight, I'll make sure to provide the answer from our consultant, and and we'll put it on record for
Okay,
our
thank you.
documentation.
Mr. Easterbrook?
My question was related to the tile draining. It was on in countryside, sorry. That's what, the countryside has been tile drained for years. Is any consideration being given to the fact that tile drainage drains much more water into your drains than those people who are not tile drained? And as such, is any consideration given to a tax structure that may recognize that possibility?
Okay, Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon?
I'll try to answer that as best as I can, but by doing the engineer report today, those were all factored in part of the assessment and how, for the watershed itself. So I know for older reports, maybe not as true, but for this one, it was revised, taking account the type of usage along the drain.
Thank you. Another question? No, you can ask a question.
Okay, the question is, so does tile draining create the need for all these extra drains?
Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon?
That's a good question I won't be able to answer tonight. It's not really related to the engineer report that was presented earlier.
Okay. Thank you. We do not have an answer for you tonight. We will look to get an answer. Thank you. And please just make sure that that it's on as well. I don't think it was on, that it's on. No.
There.
There it is. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Candace Vetter, 575 Route 100. I'm one of the people who got a notice about this, and I'm one of the people who is trying to retain water on my land. I'm not trying, like we don't have drains and we don't want drains, and we have a little wetland, and I think Mr. Estabrooks is probably in the same situation. And I know every once in a while a drain cleanout happens, and we get like a charge with an extra $2,000 or something on our taxes, because it's been a long time since that happened, mind you. But I'm wondering, to follow up on Mr. Estabrooks' question, should maybe people who want to retain some water for the sake of dry years and people's wells and the wildlife not get a break?
Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon, any answer, any kind of response to that?
Unfortunately, no. We only presented a drain that's existing. The engineer report was updated. So the comment or the question made, it doesn't appear, it's not captured under those reports.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I don't have an answer.
So if that was something that a homeowner would be looking for, they would have to approach administration or council with a request like that, and then it'd be taken into consideration.
Yes, we could, and for the municipal drains, we work under the Drainage Act and parallel or together with the MAFRA as well.
Right. Okay.
Can I just ask then if council might consider maybe making that a policy in the future, that people who are trying to retain some water on their land, because, water's important, maybe get a break?
Mr. Bourgon, Mr. Godin, it would have to be a report that came from administration, obviously, with that.
Yeah, I don't really
Oh,
expect an
just,
answer tonight.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, we've taken the question and note, and it's definitely something we can look into and
Okay.
evaluate the options and possibilities as far as if that's feasible.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
S'il y a des questions, if there's any questions, about the agenda tonight, please step to the podium.
I'm Sharon Gunsel, live up on Edie Road. I didn't read this report, C, 11C, road construction and drain relocation. I didn't read the report in its fullness, so I didn't see the maps or what is being referred to here. But you're talking about it being for the Amard Road extension. The last time I was at a council meeting, they were still discussing, because of our road not being a truck road, whether it would go. Has there been a decision made?
Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Bourgon?
So we are still under the process of the municipal Class EA, where several options will be explored for the road network. We will be having our public meeting or public consultation or information session by the end of the month. We're still finalizing the exact date, so those notices will be sent out shortly. But here we're looking at the part that's in the existing trade of industry as well, and the remaining meters are pending or conditional at that process of the municipal Class C be completed.
Okay, thank you very much.
And are one of the alternatives being considered the east end of Lot 23 going up to Burton as an alternate route to give you a third road exit onto Burton?
Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Bourgon, is that an option still?
Yeah, that's one of the options. I believe we'll have 5 possible options of a road network or layout.
And will be notified?
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your question.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Bradley. I live at 159 E Road. Earlier in the meeting, you were discussing 11C, and Councillor Tarnowski asked about land revenues and whether those were considered guaranteed. And the response was in French, and I was hoping I could hear that in English.
Okay. Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Dagenet.
No, the land revenues are not guaranteed. Right now, we have about 32 acres that are reserved, and we're in the process of doing an agreement for purchases and sell.
There's an expectation, but it's not a guarantee.
Exactly.
Okay. I assume that answers the question. Okay. Any other questions for tonight? As-tu d'autres questions pour ce soir? Hearing and seeing none, we will move to resolutions 15A. So this is on council's options further to the declaration of a vacant seat on municipal council report CSASCL02-2024 of April 15, 2024. And we're talking about how council will proceed. I believe there was many options that were listed in here in the agenda for today. So before we move forward, I'm gonna ask council a question. Is council prepared to move forward today with a decision on whether we do a bylaw or appoint somebody? It's just a yes or no, whether we're ready to move forward with that, because we do have until June 14th to make that determination. But if council is ready to make that determination tonight, then we will move forward tonight. So I guess I'll ask that question. If council is ready to move forward tonight, just raise your hand. Okay, so council is ready to move forward tonight. Are there any options or any council members that want to speak to this? Councillor Lalonde.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would now be prepared to put a motion on the table that council vote to appoint Councillor Mike Tarnowski to fill the vacant position of mayor for the remainder of this council's term. I expect there'll be a discussion period, so I'll wait for that to add some extra commentary, but right now I'd like to put a motion on the table that we appoint Councillor Mike Tarnowski to fill the vacancy.
So this is a motion you're putting on the table, so moved by Councillor Lalonde. Is there a seconder to this motion? This is seconded by Councillor Deacon. Okay, I'll open it up. Are there any questions, comments? Obviously, I would assume Councillor Tarnowski might have a few words.
Thank you very much. Did you want to speak first? Yeah, okay, perhaps.
Okay, Councillor Lalonde.
Yeah, I think having put the motion on the table, I had some notes that I wanted to read so I can be brief, allow time for others to speak. But obviously, this has been on all of our minds for the last number of weeks, and I certainly had the opportunity to speak with, I expect, what amounted to about 24 residents. That included also community volunteers. And I had the privilege of actually speaking to people in all 4 of our villages, so Embrun, Limoges, Marionville, and Russell, about the vacant mayor's position. And I'm grateful for the time that they took to share their thoughts and ideas on how best to handle the vacant position. Plusieurs résidents ont suggéré comme première option que là où des conseillers élus étaient disposés à entreprendre le poste de maire, les autres membres exerceraient leur bon jugement quant à choisir un de ceux-ci. D'autres résidents, par contre, ont soutenu qu'une élection partielle serait la meilleure façon de procéder dans les circonstances. So in the case of a resident from Marionville and another from Russell who I spoke with, similar comments were offered on the issue of councillors having been elected democratically by residents in the first place, making them well-suited to consider an appointment of a willing councillor candidate. And I just want to finish by saying that I certainly myself took all those ideas and suggestions into account and reflected myself on the all-important duties and responsibilities of our next mayor, and in particular for me as they relate to leadership, commitment to public service, and a commitment to community wealth development. So this is what led me to determine to make the decision to propose the motion that I am tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Councillor Deacon.
Recognizing that everyone's here tonight because they care about this community and their neighbors, how we live, how we get around, and how we make decisions together. And this is a big decision tonight. With Mayor LaRue's resignation, this council has a duty, frankly, to weigh this decision very carefully. And I'm glad to hear that Councillor Lalonde has had so many touch points across the township, different types of residents, and I'd say I've done the same. Our community, from what I've heard and what I feel, expects a new mayor that comes with a proven record, an attitude of service to our community. And if I can go another step with that, to me that means it's not always the loudest person in the room, it's the one who's always willing to listen. This person has a commitment to putting the hours that our residents deserve here in our township, at the counties, and when approaching other levels of government, representing us. Above all, we expect and we need a mayor who will champion the path that this table established in 2022. And it was a path that was developed with the voices of our community. I want to be clear that Councillor Tarnowski and I have not always agreed, and that's the point. Working here, navigating and stewarding this path for our community requires of us debate and disagreement, and the more the better, in my opinion. In 2022, just going back, and every day since, hundreds upon hundreds of members of the public have taken the time to chat on the doorstep, gather at cafes, approach at events, call and email. Thousands cast their votes. They made it clear what matters to them, and council and administration set out accordingly. Safer roads, a community that remains connected as it grows, environmental and fiscal sustainability, housing that suits different residents' needs and is affordable. If we hadn't done that work at the beginning of this term, charted that path, like if this was all willy-nilly up here, we're just coming up with ideas and the administration's entertaining us, I would be one of the strongest advocates for a by-election. But that's not the case. And Councillor Tarnowski, like every member of this table, has committed to this work. Par conséquent, je soutiens la possibilité du conseiller Tarnowski pour servir la communauté en tant que maire jusqu'à la fin de ce mandat. if he would accept, I support Councillor Tarnowski being appointed as Russell Township's mayor for the remainder of the term.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Tarnowski.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you for the kind words, Conseiller Lalonde, Councillor Deakin. Truly touched by the words and the trust and confidence in nominating me for this very, very important role. Considering Mayor Leroux's departure, I'm also acutely aware of the big shoes that this role will be expected to fill. Alors, merci encore une fois à mes collègues pour votre confiance en moi. Compte tenu du départ de Maire Leroux, je suis pleinement conscient des big shoes to fill. I'm truly honored by this nomination and sincerely appreciate the opportunity to serve our township in this increased capacity. Je suis vraiment honoré par cette nomination et j'apprécie sincèrement l'opportunité de servir notre communauté dans cette capacité accrue. I, like both of you, also had discussions with residents as this question came up. Unexpected question came up for us to deal with. And much like your conclusions, I came to the realization that the momentum that we have here and the work that's been done here is really where we're going, and we want to keep that momentum going. Our council received a strong mandate from the residents who voted. Every one of us at this table was elected with more than 50% of the votes cast by the electorate, a clear reflection of their confidence in our vision. The mandate is a testament to the trust placed into us to make decisions in line with the best interest of Russell Township as a whole. By proceeding with this internal appointment, we can uphold the trust and avoid the disruptions of a by-election. Notre conseil a reçu un mandat important dans les dernières élections. Pour les résidents qui ont voté, chacun de nous à cette table a été choisi par plus de 50% des votes exprimés par l'électorat, ce qui, d'après moi, reflète clairement leur confiance dans notre vision et le travail qu'on fait ici. Ce mandat est un témoignage de la confiance placée en nous pour prendre les décisions qui correspondent aux meilleurs intérêts de notre municipalité dans son ensemble. I accept this nomination, should it pass. I also want to acknowledge, in doing so, the need to manage this transition responsibly. As such, I would request Councillor Lauren, if he agrees to, of course, to continue his role as acting mayor until our May 27th meeting. This would provide me with an opportunity to notify my current employer and initiate a realignment of my professional focus to focus entirely towards our township. En acceptant cette nomination, je tiens également à reconnaître la nécessité de gérer cette transition d'une manière responsable. À cet égard, je demanderai au conseiller Lorrain, s'il le veut bien, de continuer à exercer son rôle de maire par intérim jusqu'à notre réunion du 27 mai. Cela me donnera l'opportunité d'informer mon employeur actuel et d'initier un réalignement complet de mon attention professionnelle envers notre municipalité. Merci.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tarnowski. So at this point, I will make a quick comment. Obviously, I hear how council seems to be going. I do want to make one comment that I also have spoken to many residents in the community, as I've mentioned to each and every one of you as well. And appointment probably would not have been the way I would have voted at this point. Not to say that Councillor Tarnowski will not do a good job. I think he'll do a fantastic job in the role. But I think from a representative of the public that would have been where I would have led to, which would have been a by-election. But I understand that we are in a democracy, and if council decides that Councillor Tarnowski is the best person for this job, then I will accept that as part of the process, and I'll work with Councillor Tarnowski and other members of council, just like we have. And should it pass tonight, then yes, I would be willing to take on the role until May 27th meeting, or May 27th, whatever that date would have been, to allow you to get your situation in order. So with that said, we've got a mover, we've got a seconder to the resolution. So I guess it's 6A, Madame Camide. So the council of the Township of Russell proceed with option 6A.
We would go with option 2 and then plus 6A as
Option
well.
2,
Yes,
and then 6A.
yes.
Okay?
So we could suspend the rules of procedure and add the new resolution just to adopt the new bylaw.
Okay,
if
we'll
you
do
wanna
that.
go that way.
Suspend the rules of procedure. Everyone's okay with that? Okay? So we'll do that.
We have a mover, seconder.
Mover, Councillor Deacon, seconder, Councillor Lalonde.
All in favor?
So all those in favor?
Suspend.
That motion is carried. And then, do we have to do another motion, or are we good?
This was the one to suspend.
That was
the
to
rules?
suspend?
Yes.
Okay. So now the vote on item 2 and 6A, right?
Yes.
So to make sure we're following the procedure process
Yes,
properly.
so the first motion, you can go ahead as it is, just add option 2.
Option 2, okay. The council of the Township of Russell proceed with option 2 to fill a vacancy on council. This is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Deacon. All those in favor? That motion is carried, and then we do the same for 6A. That council of the Township of Russell proceed with option 6A to fill the vacancy on council. This is moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Now, I believe there's a bylaw that we have as well, 6B, that we will add. We're just going to do that right now then?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to grab that one. So then is it just that council of the township will proceed with option 6B to fill the vacancy on council? No.
That's the 6A, and to adopt the bylaw, like the resolution, that's 6A.
Okay. But what about 6B, which is the actual bylaw?
Yes, so if council would like to discuss how to apply the wording that's missing,
Okay.
and then we can go with the resolution that's 6A.
So we'll put the bylaw on the table, and I guess I'll read the bylaw so that we all have it. Whereas Section 263 and 264 of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25, as amended, authorizes council to appoint qualified electors to fill such vacancies, and whereas on April 9th, 2024, Pierre Leroux submitted to the clerk his written resignation as mayor effective April 19th, 2024, and whereas on April 15th, 2024, at its special meeting of council,
Sorry.
Where is it? Council received report CSASCL 2024-02 and declared vacant the office of the mayor of the Corporation of the Township of Russell as of April 19, 2024, thus creating a vacancy in that office. And whereas on April 29, 2024, at its regular council meeting, council adopted to proceed by appointing an eligible candidate to fill the vacancy for the remainder of council's term. And whereas, I guess it would be Councillor Mike Terranoski has consented to accept, if appointed, the office of the mayor of the Township of Russell. Now therefore it be resolved that the council of the Corporation of the Township of Russell enacts the following, that Councillor Mike Terranoski be and is hereby appointed mayor of the Corporation of the Township of Russell effective on May 27th, 2024, and for the remainder of the 2022-2026 term ending on November 14th, 2026, that the declaration of office and oath of allegiance to the King be done at the beginning of the regular council meeting on May 27th, 2024, and that this bylaw shall become into force and take effect upon final reading thereof, being read a first, second, and third time and passed this April 29th, 2024. All good? So we get it on the table. So this is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Questions or comments? All those in favor? That motion is carried. Congratulations, Councillor Terranoski. Words?
I'd like to suspend the rules of procedure, speak to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Alors, premièrement, merci pour votre confiance et votre soutien. En prenant ce rôle de maire, je m'engage pleinement envers notre plan stratégique conçu pour diriger notre municipalité vers un avenir durable et prospère. Notre plan ne donne pas seulement la priorité au développement économique de notre communauté, aux services communautaires et à la durabilité environnementale, mais également l'accent sur l'importance de renforcer l'engagement communautaire. Nous sommes dédiés à favoriser une communauté plus impliquée et connectée, en s'assurant que chaque voix soit entendue et que nos initiatives reflètent les besoins et aspirations divers de tous nos résidents. Ensemble, nous continuerons de construire sur notre élan actuel en mettant en œuvre des solutions innovantes, efficaces, qui font de notre municipalité un modèle de gouvernance proactive et un partenariat communautaire. So thank you for your support. As mayor, I want to confirm my full commitment to our strategic plan, which is designed to steer Russell Township toward a more sustainable, prosperous future. Our plan prioritizes economic development, community services, and environmental sustainability, and emphasizes the importance of enhancing community engagement. We are dedicated to fostering a more involved and connected community, ensuring that every voice is heard and that our initiatives reflect all residents' diverse needs and aspirations. Together, we will continue to build on our current momentum, implementing innovative and effective solutions that make Russell Township a model of proactive governance and community partnership. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I know because it'll be a question that is asked, I believe Monsieur Godin, Madame Camille, that at that same meeting, there'll be a resolution to vacate the seat of councillor for Councillor Ternosky, and then council will have to decide on how to fill that vacancy?
Mr. Chair, usually the clerk needs to receive something in writing from the person resigning. So if it's not done at that night before the sworn-in, and after I get it, then it would be, the declaration would follow at the next meeting. It all depends when the clerk receives the resignation.
Can Councillor Ternosky provide a letter that's a resignation dated as of that date?
Yes,
Is
that's
that what,
possible.
and that way there we hold it in conveyance until that time, so that there's no issue with that, the interim, because we wouldn't want that to happen. Does that make sense? Or do we want?
Le 26, le 27. Yeah, so provided for that date or the day before, whatever is deemed the
Yeah,
appropriate.
you just don't want that
way.
interruption, right? So.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And we need to get the agenda out before, so I would have to put it on the agenda.
Then
the
let's
day
just,
before.
then, you know what, for ease, why don't we just move it to the following meeting? We'll vacate this seat at that point in time, because it'll automatically be vacated when he accepts the position of mayor. Correct?
That's correct.
So we'll wait till the next meeting, then that way there's no confusion. Okay? And then from there, the same rules would apply from what's already been delivered to council. Council will have 60 days to make a determination as to which way they want to go, whether a by-election or an appointment. And from there, then council will make a decision at a subsequent meeting. So just so that everyone understands the process from here on in. Okay, make sense? We'll move to item 15B, resolutions under item 11. Motion that council approve all recommendations listed on the agenda under item 11, reports from departments and council committees. We'll get this on the table, then we'll remove item 11E. This is moved by Councillor Ternosky, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. Okay, so now we're an amendment, so I'll need a mover and a seconder for the amendment. Moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Councillor Ternosky to remove item 11E. Any questions or comments on the amendment? All those in favor? That motion is carried. We'll now move to the main resolution. Motion that council approve all recommendations listed on the agenda under item 11, reports from departments and committees, except for item 11E. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Now we'll deal with 11E. Motion that council approve item 11E, which is Recommendation 2024-01 of the Environmental and Sustainability Advisory Committee, environmentally friendly seeds for green space on township property. This is moved by Councillor Terranoski, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. Okay, and I believe there's an amendment. Councillor Terranoski.
The amendment to give direction to staff to review the ability or opportunity to look at replacing or using environmentally friendly seeds for all the green space on the township where appropriate, just to come back to
And
us
bring
with
a report back to
Yes.
council.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mr. Godin, you're good with the direction?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I think so. If we look at the resolution, the way it's written, maybe it's just to add at the end and to give direction to the administration to evaluate and report back to council.
Merci. Ouais.
Okay, so we'll add that as the amendment. So this is moved by Councillor Terranoski, seconded by Councillor Deacon. On the amendment to add that direction, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Now on the original amendment, I'll call the question. All those in favor? As amended, motion is carried. We'll move to bylaws. Motion that council approve bylaw 2024-032 for first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. And it's bylaw 2024-032 being a bylaw to award a contract and to authorize the entry into an agreement with Cornwall Gravel Company Limited for the road construction municipal drain relocation report ISPW 2024-09. This is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to item 17, new business reports. There is none. Other business. Councillor Lalonde, you had an item at 18A.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So I was hoping to get some clarification on the Township official plan review process, in particular as it regards the material that was posted on the website. So I'm wanting to, maybe before getting started on this, I do have two questions, is to mention that that information that was put up in the last few days I find to be quite detailed and complete, so I appreciate all that information that did get out there these last few days. It should give all our residents a good chance to really dig into some of the information and the questions that I was hearing on wanting to see more detail, so thanks for that. So I have two questions, and if I could direct them through you to
Yep.
maybe over to Monsieur Godin or Monsieur Bourgon as they see fit. Just in no particular order, there's two of them, mind you. I note that the draft policy direction report already sets out the proposed policy changes expected to be in conformity with the UCPR's new official plan. So my question on that is, it has to do with residents, either individuals or groups that might be looking at this stuff now, as to whether they also are going to be given an opportunity to contribute input and ideas on that report before it's finalized. And if so, how does admin see that process working?
Okay, Mr. Godin, Mr. Bourgon, are you going to tackle that one? Both of those?
Thank you. So the resident will have the opportunity to provide comments on the draft of the proposed OP. So our special council meeting that's set in about a month, it's really step one of that full consultation process. So there'll be several opportunities for residents to provide comments. Donc les résidents auront plusieurs opportunités par la suite à cette rencontre et par la suite, que ce soit par courriel directement à l'administration ou au cours de différentes rencontres publiques qu'il y aura durant le processus de révision du plan officiel.
Okay, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Bourgon. Councillor Lalonde?
So just to follow up then on that first question, so they will have the opportunity not only to critique what is in the draft, but they'll also have a chance maybe to make proposals of their own that may not even be in that draft at this point. That'll also be acknowledged and accepted?
Mr. Bourgon?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Last question, second question. It's mentioned in the review that the review process will take up to a year to complete, and the statements made allowing for plenty of time for public engagement, which my question on that basis then is, when would you foresee the next opportunity for public engagement in the process? So we know we have the meeting coming on the 26th, I think it is, 27th. When would you expect, logically, for the next or the subsequent public engagement meeting to take place?
Monsieur Bougon?
I won't have the answer for your council tonight. I can provide an update. I'll consult, I'll get feedback from our consultant to determine what's realistic and what type of time frame we're looking in between the special council meeting and the next open house or public consultation.
Thank you very much. Anything else? No, we're good. Item 19, we've already dealt with, which is the public consultation. Item 20, announcements. Members of council announcements. I believe, Councillor Deacon, you had something?
I had the pleasure of spending yesterday morning out with community members along the recreational trail, picking up litter and doing a community cleanup, which was organized by the Environmental Advisory Committee of Russell Township and very well supported by staff logistically. And I just wanted to commend everybody who came out yesterday and lent a hand. I think we left it better than we found it. Certainly in our area, we had some very enthusiastic young people who were going the extra mile to find every little piece of garbage that they could and make sure that our spaces are left pristine and beautiful as the spring comes in. So I just wanted to express my thanks again to that committee for showing leadership, entirely made of volunteers that decided that was how they wanted to spend their Sunday morning, helping each other out.
Excellent initiative. Thank you very much for saying that. That's awesome. I've seen people out all weekend actually doing that cleanup. So thank you very much to all the residents, all the youth, all the people that were out doing that this weekend. We appreciate it very much. Councillor Tarnowski.
I just have one addition. So on May 13th, at our May 13th meeting, I will be absent. I'm out of the province.
Okay, please note that, Madame Camille. Councillor Lalonde.
Yeah, I just want to say, give a shout out to Ladies' Night coming this Friday night. Judy McFall and that whole group of volunteers doing a remarkable job, rivaling Russell Trivia Night in the amount of money that they're going to raise, that they have been raising over the years for some great causes. So it's already sold out, so it's not to push tickets or anything, but it's just to recognize what they've been doing for a number of years now, and that a good amount of money is being raised and going to some great causes. So kudos to Ladies' Night Group for organizing that event.
Thank you very much. And actually, I was going to mention something about that as well. So it is their 18th year, and they've raised over $450,000 during that time. So such an amazing event for exceptionally worthy causes in our community. So I think that they've done an excellent job. So thank you very much for recognizing them. With that, we will move to item 21, strategic discussion. There is none. Item 22, session à huis clos, il n'y en a pas. Confirming bylaw, that bylaw 2024.
034 because we used 33 for the other one.
Okay, 034 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Russell at its regular council meeting held on April 29, 2024. Be ready first, second, and third time and passed. This is moved by Councillor Tarnowski, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Our next meeting is the regular meeting of council. Will be held on Monday, May 13th, 2024. And we stand adjourned at 7:28 p.m. Merci beaucoup tout le monde pour être venu ce soir. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.